December 17th, 2008. The divorce of Bruce Pardo and Sylvia Ortega Pardo is finalized. Sylvia and her family were preparing for their annual Christmas Eve party. Bruce, on the other hand, was finalizing his diabolical plans to crash the party. In the aftermath, 9 members of the Ortega family would be murdered and 3 others injured. Welcome to Go Dutch TV. I'm Duchess, and this is Cases and Cocktails.
Duchess said give y'all this disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. All statements and information relayed was obtained from various news and media outlets available on the internet and personal opinion. Law school never saw her, nor is she a journalist. Everything is alleged, or allegedly. Enjoy the video.
To onlookers, Bruce Pardo appeared to be just a regular guy living a regular life. Nothing could have been farther from the truth. While he was a straight-A student while attending Cal State and went on to land a high-paying job as an electrical engineer, Bruce had a definite dark side. The longtime usher at Holy Redeemer Catholic Church in Montrose was at one point involved in a long-term relationship with one Elena Luciano. The relationship ended when Elena asked Bruce to look after their son, who was a toddler at the time, while she went out to buy groceries. When she came home, she says she found Bruce in the same spot, same position on the sofa, and Matthew was nowhere to be found. Elena, of course, panicked. She's running around the house looking for Matthew. Eventually, Bruce was able to stir his body from the sofa to help her look, and they found baby Matthew outside in the pool, face down. Matthew did survive, but he suffered severe brain damage and will be wheelchair bound for the rest of his life. Matthew's medical bills were over $340,000. Elena had to sue Bruce's homeowner's insurance and was awarded $100,000. She also sued Bruce personally, and a $36,000 trust had to be set up for baby Matthew. Once Bruce received that order, he said, "That's it, that's all." He left, never to see his son Matthew nor Elena again. Nor did he contribute one single dime to Matthew's care. In true ain't shit individual fashion, though, he did continue to claim Matthew as a dependent for the tax breaks. After up and leaving his family and all of their pesky problems behind, relocating and finding a new job in a new place, Bruce began his new life. His job at ITT Electric Radar Systems paid $122,000 annually, and in 2004, he got his second shot at love. He met Sylvia Ortega. Sylvia Ortega was a divorcee with 3 children of her own that she claimed and cared for. And she came from a very big family, one of 5 children. Her parents were immigrants who came to this country, created a business that became very successful, and they became an intricate part of the fabric of Covina, California, where they made their home. Sylvia worked for a flower breeder, earning around $31,000 annually. And when she met Bruce and they began dating in 2004, he portrayed himself as a family man. He was very loving, and Sylvia thought that she herself had another chance at love. After about 2 years of dating, the two married in January of 2006. By July 2008, Sylvia had filed for divorce. Cracks began to show in the foundation of their marriage very early on. The first red flag was Bruce refused to set up a joint banking account. While there was an account that Sylvia had access to, Bruce was moving on fuck them kids time. As he totally turned his back on his own son, he felt that it was solely Sylvia's responsibility to take care of any matters regarding her children once they were married. he would not contribute anything financially to the care of Sylvia's children. The final straw was in early 2008 when Sylvia received some mail from the IRS. While it was addressed to Bruce as his wife, she opened it. To her surprise, she learned her husband had a whole ass child that she had no idea existed. Not only did he have a child, this child had been severely injured, and he totally turned his back on him. That was it for Sylvia. She left Bruce and moved in with family. A few months later, she filed for divorce. Sylvia also discovered that in the prior months, Bruce had been moving $71,000 from the account that she had access to secret accounts that he had. The judge overseeing the divorce proceedings initially ordered Bruce to pay Sylvia $1,785 monthly in spousal support. Bruce went to his friends, Romans, and countrymen and said, "Lend me your ear. She taking me to the cleaners. She trying to take me for everything I got. She doesn't even pay rent because she's living with family. Then I heard she's going to restaurants. And I heard she got golf lessons. Then they say she getting massages." Not only was he telling this to anyone that would listen, he was putting it in filings to the divorce court in an effort to either have his spousal support lowered or just aggravate the judge. We don't know why. By the end of July, Bruce had been fired for billing false hours to clients. Once this happened, Bruce felt this was his sure way to not only get rid of those spousal support payments, but also get a little bread from Sylvia. He filed to not only have his spousal support payments done away with, but he also wanted Sylvia to pay him spousal support from her $31,000 salary and also pay for his lawyer fees. The judge said no. The judge did suspend the spousal support payments, but in the final order, he ordered that Bruce pay Sylvia $10,000. He was to return her wedding ring, and she was to get the majority of furniture from the shared family home and also the family dog. Bruce got to keep the house and the cars. Bruce was not happy. In September, he started plotting his revenge. Bruce began stockpiling weapons, ammunition, and racing fuel. He also turned into a little bit of a mad scientist and spent a lot of time in his garage building something. He went to a local seamstress and ordered a $300 custom Santa suit, and he asked her to make it extra large so that he can be extra jolly. He was getting ready to crash a party. Joseph and Alicia Ortega had an annual Christmas Eve party that they invited family, friends, and neighbors to. The party could have up to 40 guests. It was an event that was looked forward to by their Covina neighbors. One neighbor in particular would show up between 11 p.m. and midnight in a Santa suit and a bag full of gifts for all of the grandchildren. Joseph and Alicia did have 5 adult children who were all married and had children. Before this year's Christmas Eve party, though, that neighbor did move from the neighborhood. As Christmas Eve approached, a mere 7 days after the divorce of Sylvia and Bruce was finalized, Bruce enacted the next part of his plan. He bought airplane tickets, he got maps, he withdrew cash, and he rented 2 vehicles, 1 car and 1 SUV. Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2008. It is around 11:30, and the Christmas Eve party that was a great success is now winding down. Guests are leaving. By 11:30, they're down to about 25 guests. Joseph, who was 80, Alicia, who was 70, their 3 daughters, and 2 daughters-in-law were all in the dining room area, and some of them were playing a game of Texas Hold'em around the dining room table. Some of the grandchildren were inside, some were in the backyard by the pool, and another, Michael, was upstairs playing a video game. There was a knock at the door. One of Sylvia's 8-year-old nieces looked through the glass in the door and saw Santa. Accustomed to Santa showing up at her grandparents' house on Christmas Eve, she happily opened the door. She was then shot in her face. What happened next is the stuff of nightmares. In full Santa suit, hat and boots, and wielding a large, oversized gift wrapped in wrapping paper, Bruce entered the Ortega family home. After the first gunshot, brothers Charles and James, who were close to the front door, immediately recognized Bruce and began to scream, "It's Bruce, run." Bruce opened fire. He needed extra room in that Santa suit because he had 4 guns and ammunition on his person. He also had $17,000 cash taped and tucked against his body with a girdle. As Bruce goes further into the house, he shoots both Charles and James. According to witnesses, even though they were hit, they kept trying to get up and get to Bruce, but Bruce kept shooting. He next turned his attention to the dining room, where Grandpa Joseph, who went by Papa Joe, his wife Alicia, Charles and James's wives, and the Ortega's 3 daughters, Alicia, Sylvia, and Letitia, were all around the dining room table. Some of them dove under the table, and that is where they died. Of the family members who were injured and survived, one was the 8-year-old girl who opened the door. All but one of the Ortega's children were killed. The surviving daughter was the mother of the 8-year-old. She saw her daughter stagger out of the house and into the front yard, and she scrambled out of the house towards her daughter. She scooped her up, ran to a neighbor's, and called 911. Bruce was still raining bullets inside the Ortega home. Among the other surviving victims is one family member who jumped from a balcony and broke her leg, and another 16-year-old girl who was shot in her back. Once Bruce was done being the worst Santa ever, he went to the large gift that he brought. It was a homemade flamethrower that he'd made from an air compressor converted to spray racing fuel. With members of the Ortega family jumping from windows, running through glass doors, and screaming and moaning all around him, he opens his gift and he lets the flamethrower throw flames. But there was a bit of real quick karma for Mr. Bruce. He didn't pay attention to the fireplaces that were lit on the lower level. When he let the flamethrower go, the house went boom. Bruce himself caught on fire. He was able to escape the home and get to his rental car, but neighbors were already outside and able to give a description of the vehicle that he left in. Bruce then drove to his brother's home, parked his car around the corner, and went inside. His brother was out for the night. The house was empty, and Bruce, injured, extra crispy, and hurting, took the coward's way out. Authorities believe the pain from his 3rd and 4th degree burns on his arms and leg, burns that were so severe there were parts of the Santa suit actually burned into him. I love that for him. But they felt that he just really couldn't take that pain, and he knew he couldn't take himself to a hospital. So Bruce sat on the sofa, put it in his mouth, and his brother found him before the sun came up with a hole in the top of his head. Authorities very quickly were able to identify Bruce as the shooter. They located the first rental car that he used during the crime around the corner from his brother's house. But Bruce had a little Christmas surprise for the authorities. He'd taken off the Santa suit in that car and booby-trapped the car so that when the door was opened, if the Santa suit was moved, the car would explode and 200 rounds of ammunition would go off. That did, in fact, happen. No one was hurt. The second vehicle that he'd rented, an SUV, which held the maps additional weapons, and the airline ticket. Also gifts because he planned to visit a friend before he fled the country and he bought presents for the family. Well, this vehicle was found down the street from Sylvia's divorce attorney's home. Authorities believe had he not toasted himself to a cute little crisp, the attorney was next. They also believe Bruce had plans to kill his own mother because she was supposed to be in attendance at this Christmas Eve party. She happened to change her mind at the last minute. Because his mother remained great friends with Sylvia after she left her ain't shit son, he felt his mother had taken Sylvia's side and she no longer needed to be on this earth. When authorities searched Bruce's home, they say that they found a bomb-making factory. So even though he was unemployed, he found use for his electrical engineering skills. Christmas morning, 2008, found Bruce's brother walking into his own home, his sanctuary, and finding his brother slightly barbecued and dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound on his living room sofa. The Ortega family had been ripped apart. 9 members murdered. Grandmother, grandfather, 4 of their 5 children, 2 daughters-in-law, and 1 grandson were all gone. After the Ortega home exploded, the fire that raged took over 4 hours and 80 firefighters to extinguish. And Bruce, if there is a hell, I would like to think that's where he is. In a Santa suit, on a spit, with an apple in his mouth. That's the way I like to imagine good old Bruce. That, you guys, brings us to the end of another episode of Cases and Cocktails. Thank you so very much for joining me. I'm doing something special for the holidays. We started with a Thanksgiving case, and now up until Christmas, we will be doing Christmas crime cases, and I hope that you enjoy it. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notification bell because we will be dropping videos every Wednesday. I welcome you, as always, to join the Royal Court. Thank you to my returning viewers. You are appreciated. And until next Wednesday, be blessed, be fabulous, and be fearless. Peace.